this I totally love. Again, 179 miles an hour blowing speed on this. You've got that nice flex, because this isn't held in one position. You've got that nice flexible tube, so you can move this. You've got cruise control, or you can adjust the speed. But this, I love this at work. Right, you get the idea. I'm going to bore you silly, but I just enjoy myself so much. I thought I just want to keep going, really. But yeah, you can see there. I mean, again, I hate to mention the A word because I really, really hate autumn for loads of reasons, especially these. They're all right when they're up there, but when they start coming down in their billions on the ground, it's not the most fun time of year for a gardener. But when you've got one of these, it actually makes it quite fun, actually. You kind of feel like a kid, like just blowing all these leaves into a big pile. And that brings me on to another tool, actually. Right in front of us here, because obviously this, you know, you've got the adjustable strap on that as well. So you've got the flexibility there, and you've got the weight of this on your back, so you're not holding something in your hand that's going to sort of hurt your shoulders. And you can just clear leaves and debris and stuff with this, or even hedge clippings. So if they're light hedge clippings like box or privet or something, we use that to just sort of blow them into a huge pile rather than fiddle about sort of raking for ages on end, because, you know, who likes raking? It's just completely boring. Then we've got the walk behind vacuum. So that's what I'm going to use next, actually, because I'm going to go over these and just suck them up with this sort of beast here. This is fantastic. If you're a gardener like me, you've got to have one of these. I mean, especially if you've got a huge garden, you just saw, you know, how impressive was that? I mean, it just literally sucked those leaves up so easily, so straightforward. Wet leaves, dry leaves. I mean, there was even a sort of a bit of twig and stuff there. That went up there really easily as well. And to say, there's no reason probably why you can't use this for hedge clippings. If you've got a hedge that sort of abuts a lawn, for example, you could use it to sort of suck those up. Nice and easy to empty, just undo the bag on the side here, and then you could just, you know, take it up to the compost heap, flick all those clippings out onto the compost heap. Also, there's additional items you can purchase for this. So you can actually turn this also into a scarifier, which is something a lot of people might be thinking about this time of year or in the spring. If you look at this lawn, for instance, I mean, yeah, it feels nice and soft underfoot. But that isn't necessarily a brilliant thing, because what it means is lots of thatch and debris is built up under here. That's stopping the light, the air, sort of getting down to the grass. So this isn't really growing new grass. That's why it's looking a bit yellow and a bit sad, because there's so much dead detritus and junk in there. You can actually purchase this as an additional item that will scarify this. Those tines will pull out all that thatch, all that debris, all that muck, suck it up into the bag for you. The air, the light can get down. When you put your granular feed, it's not just going to sit on the top and then be sucked up by the next mower cutting. It's actually going to dissolve and kind of go down into the soil. So that's a great addition. If you've got like sort of large areas of paving, or even I guess a tennis court or somewhere like that, if you're lucky enough, brush attachment as well. So if all those hard surfaces getting off lichen, moss, mud, all those bits and pieces, again, you can fit that. You can brush those really huge areas, because who wants to go in with a broom and do that when you can walk behind a machine like this that's really easy and straightforward. And then there's also a hose attachment that you can attach to the machine. So you might have used the blower, for example, the shoulder blower there, to blow a huge pile of leaves into a pile. So what you're going to do, you're going to laboriously then try and put them in bags or the brown bin or something. No, you can just attach this to the machine, and then you can actually use that to vacuum up all those huge piles of leaves. And again, they'll get shredded, that 10:1 ratio, emulsion ratio, shredded into the bag, job done, really simple. So In fact, I'm not sure I meant to say this, but I'm not going to tell you the exact amount, but somebody told me earlier on how many of these just sold over the last weekend, and it doesn't surprise me, because when you think of the fact that for the next, what, 8 to 10 weeks, 12 weeks, leaves, something like that is so easy to start, so easy to use, not intimidating, and you can just imagine the ordinary person wouldn't be, you know, frightened of using that, and you can just achieve those great results in no time at all. So that sort of covered those few items there. There's some other items here as well we've got on display. We've got a scarifier here, petrol scarifier here, which is great for those really, really big areas of lawn. Well, somewhere like this, to be honest. You look how huge this place is. This would, you know, sort of do an area like this quite easily. I'm going to show you one of the little tillers in a moment. This is just slightly wider than the one I'm demoing there. And then we've got another sort of petrol blower there. That can actually become well, it is a blower, but you can actually attach attachments and make that a vacuum as well. So that can become both. You can do either or with that. But this is a great little machine that I love. This is nice. I like using things like this at work, because sometimes if you've got a new area to plant and the ground's really compacted and really hard, or if you've got to do a turfing job and you want to break up the surface of the soil so you can rake it nice and even before you put the turf down, something like this is really, really good. So I'll show you this little fella. And this soil here, yesterday, it was all under weeds, like we got here. I've used the line trimmer and the brush cutter, which we're going to use in a while to demo as well. We cleared that, and this soil was really, really hard yesterday, really, really dry, but it sort of chewed through this really, really well. You can see it's broken up really nicely. Obviously, I wouldn't recommend doing this where you've got loads of convolvulus, because now one plant's become about 8 million. But obviously for clean soil, for allotments, if you're going to turf somewhere like that, this is ideal. And just again, thinking sort of from sort of the people that I do work for, this is something that sort of the ordinary person would be happy to use on their allotment or in their garden. Because I remember years ago, before I became self-employed, I worked for a guy once, and I turned up at a job and he said, oh, I want you to do some rotavating. And I'd never used a rotavator in my life. And there was this thing like that wide, and I was absolutely terrified. And yeah, it dragged me around the garden, and I had sort of blisters and bruises, and sort of, I thought, I don't do rotavating anymore or anything like that. But that was just because the machine was too big, it was too chunky. This just makes it so easy, so straightforward, and just takes sort of the back breaking really out of sort of cultivating areas like this. So I think probably, I'm not meant to have favourites, but I think on my sort of top 5 favourite list, this would go in. The walk behind vacuum, the walk behind line trimmer, they would definitely be, those three would definitely be in my sort of top 5.